We are now just 6 months away from the official release of Star Wars The Rise of Skywalker by director J.J. Abrams that is set to introduce over 8 new characters in this story that will interact with the characters of Kylo Ren and Rey in Episode 9. This is Mike Zero. Make sure to subscribe if you're new to the channel for future Star Wars content. So, what's really great about Episode 9 is that we do know that this movie is going to be a film that's going to have a lot of callbacks, not just to the prequels and the originals, but also other forms of Star Wars canon material, such as books, novels, and even some Legends material out there that will be made canon in Episode 9. Now, these past couple of weeks or so, we've been learning a whole lot more about this film, and when it all comes down to one of the concept art descriptions, this is where things begin to get very exciting for Episode 9. Now, specifically, shot descriptions consisting of Kylo Ren in a standoff with the new villain, who is dubbed as the Dark Acolyte / Vance. It's described that Kylo is protecting Rey as she is on the ground in the background, where Kylo is standing in front of her. The new villain in it is said to give Kylo a lecture by exchanging dialogue out loud, that his compassion for that girl is his ultimate weakness and that he must kill her to fulfill his destiny. Kylo at one point is said to appear tempted to do it, where Kylo is restricting himself to fall into the order of another individual. This is where it's described that Kylo uses a strike of Force lightning against the foe, where the Dark Acolyte is able to dodge the strike by tilting his body to the side. This is when their lightsaber duel is set to resume, where Kylo is fighting the Acolyte with his crossguard lightsaber, where Rey throws her lightsaber toward Kylo. Kylo is set to grab Rey's lightsaber in midair, where now Kylo is fighting the two blades against the Dark Acolyte, single blade, giving fans a callback to what Anakin Skywalker did against Count Dooku and Obi-Wan did in Attack of the Clones. It's described that this eventually leads to a moment in which the Acolyte grabs Kylo's arm, holding the crossguard saber while clashing his saber with the other saber in Kylo's hand, and throws him across the battle area, and rolling down a piece of wreckage in the rain. This is said to be where Rey runs into battle, where now Kylo throws back her saber, where as she catches it, she fights the Acolyte in a one-on-one battle with tons of prequel trilogy choreography. So let's go over a couple of parts about this. Now, this is by far the finest example of J.J. Abrams bringing us back to the prequels. And what I mean by this is, of course, a parallel. Now, Star Wars is all about parallels, right? It's like poetry, it rhymes. And this is the best way to do things from Episode 2, Attack of the Clones, where you guys may recall where Obi-Wan was injured and on the floor, where he throws the saber for and toward Anakin Skywalker, where Anakin now has, I believe it was, a blue and a green saber, fighting both, of course, Count Dooku against himself. Now, what's interesting about this is that you can see that they're trying to really base Kylo Ren off of the character of Anakin Skywalker, how they are very similar characters, both grandfather and grandson. So in Attack of the Clones, Anakin was using two sabers against Dooku, and now Kylo Ren is using his crossguard and Rey's saber, which also belonged to Anakin, going up against the new Acolyte, the Dark Acolyte / Vance. It's a very interesting idea by Abrams in order to really bring us back and to make us feel somewhat nostalgic in The Rise of Skywalker without actually including, footage of past Star Wars movies. Now, the other piece that I do want to go over is how in the beginning of all of this, the Dark Acolyte is trying to tell Kylo Ren and to convince Kylo Ren to kill the girl Rey, and that is the only way to fulfill his destiny. Does this not sound very similar to what Supreme Leader Snoke told Kylo Ren in the throne room in The Last Jedi? It very well seems like, since this new villain is somewhat connected with the spirit of Sidious, that there is a great possibility, and we have been going over all the different hints and or indicators, that Snoke and Palpatine was the same exact person at a certain point in time. So it's a little strange how this is literally the same exact sequence that, we had between both Snoke and Kylo Ren. It's very similar in my point of view. So the other piece that I do want to go over involves the moment in which Rey now actually goes into battle after Kylo Ren is thrown through across the battle area, where Rey now fights the new Acolyte. Now, Rey fights the Dark Acolyte in a one-on-one battle with tons of prequel trilogy choreography that's all set and ready to be used. So that's another thing that was in fact implemented in the story by George Lucas for the third act of the film, is that a lot of prequel trilogy choreography is going to be used in the lightsaber duels. And what I mean by this is, of course, the moves, right? The fighting styles. that we all saw in Revenge of the Sith and Attack of the Clones and you name it, that's going to be a part of Episode 9, and I believe that we got a little glimpse of this already in the Rise of Skywalker's teaser back in April, where we see Rey doing a backflip over that TIE Interceptor on Pisana. So, right then and there, we got a little glimpse of the prequel choreography making its way into Episode 9, and it's really going to come into full swing in the third act of the actual film. So, the new character, guys, like I say, the Dark Acolyte, I am very excited to see how powerful he's really going to be on the big screen, and how convincing of a character he's going to be to Kylo Ren, and lastly, of course, how intimidating he's really going to be as a villain. You know, I've always wanted to have a more intimidating villain in the sequel trilogy, and Kylo Ren just needs a little bit more work in my book, honestly. So that's where the new villain comes into play. Anyways, guys, drop a comment below. Let me know what you think about all of this in the comments. And if you guys did enjoy the content for today, do make sure to drop a thumbs up on this video to support the channel. I thank you all so very much for the kind support, and I'll catch you guys next time.
From night to moon, we hear them moans again.